For the kids who are up here, thank you for that. That was awesome. If there are any other kids who want to come join them in the front, they're come join over here, that's fine too. Come do that now. Dr. Beaker told me that a few months ago, in the back, he came and he gave part of the message. And what he said was a lot of kids stayed with their parents and they were really nervous. But then he brought out a bag and it had some juice and some crackers in it. And then all the kids were like, wait, I gotta get back up there now. So what he told me to do was, if I have a bag of goodies that I'm going to be handing out, I ought to show that first. So that's what I'm going to do. As you can see, I've got a sack full of cash over here, okay?
Amen.
Bart moved, you get sacks full of cash, piece of cake, nobody cares anymore, it's awesome. So that's a joke, don't worry, it's not really a sack full of cash. Yeah, see, now everybody's up front, that's awesome. Alright, so what we're going to talk about today is worth, okay? What is something worth? What gives it value? What makes it important? What gives us worth or value or makes us important? Okay, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So, going along with the bag full of money theme, what do we have up front? I need a lot of interaction, especially from the kids in front. But this message is not just a kid message. It's really not. I think it's important to hear at a younger age, but it's really, hopefully, really important to hear again sometimes during our lives because it's easy to lose track of. So, what do we have on screen? Money, right? $1 bill. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to reach into this sack full of cash here. This is what I'm going to do. All the kids who are sitting up front, there we go. I'm getting a $1 bill. See, now you're part of the service. It's too late now. You guys are first. Okay. Oh, wait, no, I had one extra too. Check that out. All right. Here we go. Now we're going to the service. All right. So what we got to do, you have this dollar. Now, does the $1 bill have any value? Yes, of course it does, right? So how much is it worth? $1. Yeah, we start easy. We're going to get harder as we go. So it's worth $1. How many pennies is that? 100. How many nickels? 20. That was a little harder. It's still a fast answer, right? 10 dimes, 4 quarters, 2 50-cent pieces. I'm pretty sure they still make those MC ones. So that's how much this is worth, right? It's easy to understand the value. Now we're going to do something a little weird. Everybody who's part of the service loop is going to join in here. You're going to give your dollar a name. All right, I'm going to name mine Bill because I am that creative. So, you're going to give it a name, and you are going to say nice things to this dollar. All right, like, Bill, you are really handsome. Bill, you are smart, you're funny, you run fast, and you're good at sports. Okay, so say something nice to your Bill there. George, that's just as creative as Bill. Good job. All right. So you're going to keep that in mind, okay? And you're going to hold on to that. Don't lose that. It's important for later. All right. So what about us? What do you think? Do you have value? Do you have worth? Sometimes, who's ever done this? Who's ever done something, and again, I'm kind of thinking in a kid way here, but it's certainly not just for kids. Adults go through this same issue all the time. You do something wrong, or you do something badly, or somebody else picks somebody instead of you, and you kind of feel worthless. Who's ever done that? Ever. Maybe you come home, and maybe you're saying it out loud. You're so disgusted with yourself. You're like, I'm so stupid, I can't believe I did this. Nobody could ever love me, or anything like that, right? It's easy to lose track of our value a lot of times, I think, because the world will beat it out of you sometimes. So today, what we're going to do is talk about what we're worth, and we're going to prove it. So that's the goal for today. Now, what's on screen? Everybody's eyes just lit up like, wait a minute, you had a $1 bill and you got $10. It's getting better and better. Yeah. All right, everybody wants up front now, sure. I'm not handing out $10 bills, I'm sorry. I can't afford to do that. What I am going to do is ask this question. A $10 bill, does it have more value or less value than a $1 bill? Right, so I don't have a $10 bill, I have something even better. I have a $20 bill right here. Now here's my question. Who would like to trade their $1 bill for this $20 bill? Pretty much everybody, right? Except for Janet and these two, they're okay too. Everybody else is like, yes. All right. Now wait, we have to do something first, okay? I want you to take this $20 bill. We're going to name him Jackson, all right? Again, hugely creative mind going on here. All right? I want you to say something mean to this. Matter of fact, not just everybody who's participating, everybody in the room, I want you to say something mean to Jackson here. Say, Jackson, you can say, and don't take this personally if you have grandkids named Jackson and such. Jackson, say something mean. Like, no bad words or anything, of course, right? But you're dumb. You're bad. So everybody say something bad.
Jackson, you're silly.
You're stupid.
Okay, so now, Jackson's not feeling very good about himself, right? But here's my question. Who wants to trade now? Now that we know, we said good things about your dollar bill, right? You gave it a name, we said all this cool stuff about it. We said all these bad things about Jackson over here, because Jackson is no good, right? He's good for nothing. I mean, look, I tried to, he flew out, he just fell right down. He's no good, right? Who wants to trade now their $1 bill? Well, still everybody, right? Yeah, of course they do. Because, I'll pick this up before I forget about it, lose it. Radio swiping on its way back up. So, the value of the $20 bill and the value of the $1 bill isn't found in what we say about it, right? It's not found in how far it flies. It's not found in how fast it runs, how well it does on the test, how good looking it is, how any of that stuff, right? Why is there value in the $20 bill, or the $10 bill, or the one for that matter? Well, why is there value in it? Where does it come from? It's economic value, correct. And who has assigned that? The government, right? The government said, okay, this is worth 100 pennies. This is worth 2,000 pennies, right? The government has decided. Why do they get to say that, though? Why does the government get to say how much those are worth? Because they made it. Exactly correct. The government has printed that money, right? And yeah, sure, there's more to it than all this, but the government has printed that. The government gets to decide how much it's worth. And so, let me ask you a question. Who made you? God. So, who gets to decide how valuable you are? God does, right? It's not, well, yeah, God gets to decide, but then Craig gets to change it because he says bad things about you. That didn't work at all, right? We said a lot of good things about the $1 bill, a lot of bad things about the 20. Didn't change the value at all, right? Because it's not our job. It's not. We don't have the authority to change it, right? And so this little quote here, right? God does not love you because you're valuable. You're valuable because He loves you. And it's important to remember that, and that's going to roll into the rest of our little conversation here that we have today. Now, this next one, what's this one?
Sweetness.
Yes. I am not handing iPods out today either. Just take care of that just in case. Everybody's eyes kind of got big again. Lou was over there like, yes, I did it. All right. So, an iPod. Who has, now again, this is for everybody who is participating, because you got the dollar, you're in, man. You're set. Who has an iPod or something similar, right? Okay. All right, awesome. So, let me ask you a question. Can I buy your iPod from you?
Yes.
No. You saw that I have at least $21. Right? $21, I want to buy your iPod. No. Well, how come? Go ahead, shout it out.
It's worth more than
Because it's worth more than $21, right? The value level on an iPod is like right here, right? And $21 is like right here, right? It's worth more than that. Now, Apple makes the iPod. Let's say that they decide it's worth this much money, right? But everybody in the world won't pay that much for it, okay? Nobody in the whole world will pay that much for it. They're only going to pay this much, right? So what happens to the price? It comes down, right? So it's actually worth this much. This is kind of the proof, right? Apple made the iPod, so they have a say. They get to say how much it's worth, right? It's not like me saying the dollar's worth nothing. They actually have some authority there, right? But if nobody's willing to pay it, you kind of lose the value, right? So keep that in your mind too, because we're gonna add to that thought. All right. Now, you said that you wouldn't sell it for $21. I don't blame you. That's a good thought. So my question is, oh, I can't talk and look down at the same time. So my question is, how about for $1 million?
Yeah.
I have here $1 million. You check it out. They're looking at it. They're squinting at it like, I don't believe it. 1 billion. See that? Whoa. You're trying to secure my business? Okay. All right. Have a seat. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and throw it up on screen. All right. There we go. $1 million. I have it right here. Look, it says million. Right? It's got a really handsome dude in the middle. Yeah. It's got. Look at all them zeros on there. That's awesome. So what? Who wants to sell me the right button? But, so, oh, well, it's a fake. So what you're saying is this is not worth $1 million. But wait, okay. So it's not printed by the government, I'll give you that, okay? It was printed by me at my house with a printer. I had to do a little work on the face there to get it just right. I didn't think that other guy was handsome enough to be on a $1 million bill. So, the question then is, if I made it, I get to decide how much it's worth, right? That's what we said. The government makes it, they say it's worth one, it's worth one. I made it, and I say it's worth $1 million. So now that I've explained that, now who wants to sell me their iPod for $1 million? A couple of them, all right. I get a deal here. So, why don't the rest of you still want to anymore? Go ahead.
Because it's not really
It's not
Give it to the store, they want it. Yeah.
Okay, so it doesn't really have the value that I tried to assign to it, is what you're saying. Like I say it's worth $1 million, that doesn't necessarily mean anything.
I would get arrested for counterfeit.
Maybe, although it's not good enough, I think they would kind of laugh. Although they would say, what a good looking guy. That joke will never get old. I'm going to run that all day. But what you're saying in the end is, I don't have the authority to give it that value, right? Like, sure, I made it, and that's great, but then that brings me to a question. So we said that we knew we were valuable because God made us, so God gets to decide if we're valuable. But I guess we have to figure out if He has the authority to do that then, right? Because just making something doesn't necessarily mean you get to say how much it's worth. So, what kind of authority do you guys think that God has? And you got $1 you're in. But what authority does God have? All authority, right? This is what Jesus says about it. All authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. Right? God made everything. So pretty much anything He says has all authority. Right? So now we're going to go back and start the beginning of our message here. So God made us. He says that we're valuable. And He obviously has enough authority to say that we're valuable. So, what's that mean? It means we're worth a lot, right? We're worth whatever He says we are. Okay? And just a little quote that I liked here, because this, going back to my original question, who has ever felt worthless? Who's ever felt like they were not valuable or important? Right? A lot of us answered yes to that. But if God says we are, and God has all the authority, maybe if you disagree with Him, the Him there is God, right? It's capital H. If you disagree with Him, change your mind, okay? The simple thing But sometimes when we're feeling down, you're feeling bad about yourself, oh, I'm so stupid, I can't believe that I did this. Remember, yeah, okay, maybe you did something bad. Maybe you need to work on it and try not to do it again. That's great. It does not mean that you're so stupid. It does not mean that you're worthless or that you're so bad that nobody can love you. It doesn't mean any of that stuff. Because that's not for us to decide. We don't have that authority. God decides that. So, we said one more thing about value. We said the proof, remember the iPods. Apple says that it's worth this much, but nobody will pay more than this. The value is actually here, right? Because the proof of value is how much somebody is willing to pay, how much somebody is willing to give, or how much somebody is willing to do for something, right? So again, you say it's worth this much doesn't necessarily mean anything if people are only going to go this far for it. So, what do you guys think? What's this picture here make think of? Daniel and Lion's Den, because it's got a lion on there. That's a good answer. Anybody else? What's this picture make you think of? Lion and lamb. Talking about Jesus, heaven, all these things, right? So, let's just see what God might be willing to, if God's the one who says we're so valuable, right? We need the proof, right? The proof is in the payment, right? So we need the proof. So how much is God then willing to pay for us? How much is God willing to give? How much is God willing to do for me and for you? Yes? To die, okay? Now, we haven't talked about a lot of scriptures today. We've just been talking general ideas, okay? I'm just going to go, you could pull 1,000 scriptures out of the Bible to talk about how much God loves us and how he proved it, okay? I've just selected 2 here. All right, John 3:16. Most of us are probably very familiar with this, right? For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish but have eternal life. God paid with his Son. Now, there's 2 parts about that, and we're going to talk about them both. The other one is Romans 5:8. But God demonstrated his own love for us in this: while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. Okay, and again, these are just 2 examples of many. But here's the whole proof of the argument. Right? I said we were going to prove today that we are valuable. And this is where this all comes down to. Christ coming to die for us. How much did he give up on a scale of here to here? Right? Yeah. If I was taller, that'd be better. Randy, you need to come show up here, right? So, a lot. But why did it have to be Jesus to come for us? Why did it have to be Jesus to pay that for us? Why? I have kids. I've got 3 kids, beautiful wife. Of course it's easy to say, but I would give anything for them, okay? I'd like to think in my head, if it came to sacrificing myself, I would be able to do that. Hopefully, obviously, it would never come to that. But if it did, that's the type of person that I believe myself to be. What if, instead of Jesus dying on the cross for us, what if it could have been me? What do you think?
No value.
There's no value in that, right? Right. And why not? It was okay to say, I'm not offended. And he kind of shut down a little bit, like he's going to take my dog away. I'm not good enough to pay for you guys. I'm not good enough to pay for myself, let alone for everybody else. So the price that was paid then is Jesus gave everything. And the other part is Jesus had to be perfect. So the price that's paid for us then is all of perfection. And that's, I'm not even going to pretend to try to put my hand there. There isn't any. It's all of perfection. That's the price that is paid for us. We talked about value. We talked about the dollar bill has this much, and the 10, and the 20, and the iPod, and whatever. And we talked about I think when we read through the scriptures, we understand, God thinks we're pretty great. And as much as we're sinful and we do all kinds of things wrong, and I'm not overlooking that, but He still loves us. And we are still valuable, we are still treasured and important. And then you realize that the price that was paid for us is a lot more than just right here what we're understanding. The price that was paid for us is all of perfection. And that's how valuable we are. And I think, as kids especially, you get in a fight with your friend at school, or you do bad on the homework, or you forget something. And as an adult, maybe you get fired from your job, or you do poorly, or have a relationship that goes badly. And all these things, and it's so easy to start thinking, man, I'm right here. I'm okay. This is how much I'm worth. These other people are way better than me. And that's just not the case. And again, going back to, if we disagree with God, maybe we need to change our mind. Yeah, we're going to feel bad sometimes, and that's okay. But the idea of the lesson here today is when that happens, that we have to remember, okay, that's not the truth. God has said the truth, not me.